Hi, I'm Kelly. Hi, I'm Kelly. Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly. Welcome to my YouTube videos where I'll be sharing free video tutorials and interesting wire wrapping techniques. So hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments below if there's any techniques you would like me to cover. And thanks everybody, I'll see you there. Hi, I'm Kelly from Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these cute earrings. I've put a list of everything you'll need in the description below, along with all my usual links. We've got Instagram, Facebook and Etsy. So if you're interested in my written tutorials, check out those links. To make these earrings, you'll need 21 gauge square wire. You can use round wire if you like, so that's 0.8 millimetre. And I've got two lengths at 10 inches, which is 26 centimetres. I'm going to be using a bit of half round wire to attach the beads, but you can use weaving wire if you want to. So my half round wire is just, I've got 4-inch lengths. I've got four 4-inch lengths, that's 10 centimetres. Weaving wire, 28 gauge, that's 0.315. You need about 100 centimetres. I've wound mine onto a bobbin. If you don't have a bobbin, don't worry, you can just cut lengths as you go. This is a Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. What else have we got? So we've got 2 ear wires as well. So tools, I've got my pliers, round nose pliers, wire cutters and nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just use those for straightening the wires and flattening the weaves and things like that. So if you don't have these, don't worry about it, you can use your fingers. I've put a list of everything you'll need in the description below, including all the tools, because I don't share links to the tools anymore, but I have written what they are in the description below, and they're all Tronex at the moment, purely because they last. I mean, I was buying the cheaper ones before, but I was buying I had to keep buying them and keep buying them. So I bought all these once and they've lasted me, so I do recommend Tronex, but they are a little bit more expensive. So take your base wire, your longer wires, find the centre point, and we're just going to bend that wire straight over, and then I'm going to squeeze it quite flat. And then take your round nose pliers, and I'm going to grip it at the largest part of the pliers and wrap it around that largest part of the pliers there. So we have this little loop, and I'm just going to hold it there for a second just so I can grip it a bit better. Got all tools up my sleeves already. So then I'm just going to bend the wires the other way. I'm just going to do it off camera because it's a little bit tricky to show you, and then I shall show you what I've done. So I just bent it that way. So the 2 wires bent and then curved around the pliers, and then we're going to scoop them the other way. And then take one of the wires and pull it away a little. So I'm going to hold it there so they separate from there and not from the top. So that's what we've got. And because we're doing earrings, it's best to do both at the same time. So take your other wire, and we need the other pliers, don't we? Grab it in the centre, bend it over, so just do exactly the same as we just did there. So I've done the other one. My loop's a tiny bit smaller. Just try and wiggle that open a little bit, just trying to match them up. My loop is open on that one. I don't know if that makes any difference. And then I need to get the bends roughly the same, so this one needs to bend a bit more. Oh, I'm out of focus there. So we've kind of got 2 the same. match them up as best you can, and handmade is always just a little bit off because we are just bending it all by hand. So I'm bending the one back. So on this one, because I want them opposites of each other, I'm going to bend this one back. I'm just going to take my time and fiddle with the wires until they're how I want them to be, so we can easily rush off and then they won't match. So that's matching now. So trying not to misshape that, we're going to take our weaving wire and do a little weave across the open part here. So take your weaving wire and we'll start with 3 wraps around one of the wires. I'm going to start with the bottom wire. If matching them up is too much, if it's getting on your nerves, you could just make 1, and then you could have a go at making 2 if you want to later on. So I've pushed my wraps down to there, and I'm going to weave across this shape here, and I'm going to try not to misshape the wires as I go. That's quite a wide shape. I'm bringing it together a little bit. So I'm going over the other wire, and then I'll go around that wire a couple of times, and then I come back over this wire and I wrap around that a couple of times, over the other wire, wrap around a couple of times, back over this wire. I've only wrapped around an extra once because we've got to get around this bend now. I'm going to wrap around the top wire 3, 4 times. Then I'm going to come down and wrap around this wire just once again. Then I'm going to go around the top wire 4 times, and then around the bottom wire a couple. So all I'm doing is I'm trying to add more wraps to the outer wire so that we can get this weave nicely around this big bend here. I think I'll do another 4 wraps around that outer one. Gracie's snoring her head off already. That means she's happy. A couple of wraps around the bottom wire there. And then, because my wires are now, my weave is now around that, and I'm just going to weave across this little bit. I'm going to go 3 wraps and then 3 wraps around this one. And then finish that with another couple of 3 wraps around each one. So we've got this nice little weave now. So I'm going to cut this wire now. I'm going to leave about 6 inches still attached, so I can use that bit to tie the next bit together. And I'm going to take my weaving wire and I'm going to weave the other one. So we want it to go the other way, so I'm going to turn it over. I don't think it makes any difference actually, because we can still turn that one over as it is. So I don't think it makes any difference. So I'm just going to make it the same so I can copy my weave. Right, what's going on here? So I'm attaching to the bottom wire, and I'm just going to do the same thing that we did. I can't remember how many times I did the different amounts to get around, so I'm just going to follow the wire. I'm going to make sure the gap still looks the same. So I'll go over the opposite wire. Around a few times. And then over this wire. Around a few times. So we'll just do exactly the same thing to this one that we did to the other one. Shall I go through it with you, and you can just skip if you don't want to see it. So I'm going 4 times around the top one. Oh, I've gone 3 times around the top one, 2 times around the bottom one. And then I'm going to go 4 times around the top one. And then twice around the bottom one. Another 4. I'm going to push it all together. And then twice around the bottom there. And then 3 around the top. 3 around the bottom. I do try and skip to make the videos as short as possible, but I was actually following one of my own videos the other day, and if you are making as you're watching, because I was making something that I made a while ago, it's nice to have the little breaks where I sit here and chat about stuff, because then you can catch up with what you're doing. So if you're making, you can have a little catch up with me, and if you're not, you can skip. So just looking at that, I need to add more repeats to the top one there to match them. Don't attempt to reshape your wires at this point, because I'd like to bend my bottom wires a bit more, but you can't because you'll just destroy all the weave. So then when you've done that one, cut the wire, leaving about 6 inches still attached. So that's what we've got so far. I've just turned the one over. So I'm just going to cut that bit of weaving wire from the beginning. Flatten down that bit if I can reach. I'll take this wire first. So this wire that's on the inner of the curve. And I'm going to guess, so about 1 centimetre. I'm going to do some nice big shapes on here. I've shuffled along a little bit. Shall I measure it to show you what I'm guessing? What I feel should be about that long is about 1.5 centimetres from the end of that weave. And I'm just going to bend the wire over so it goes straight over, and I'm going to squeeze it together on the end. If you do this in little bits, then it's less likely to jump. It might jump to the side. I'll pull that open a little bit, the round nose in there. You know, to make this bigger, it'd be nice with a bigger shape. I think I'll be better using the bail pliers. Get a nice big shape in there. So if you've got bail pliers, grab those. You can always shape it with your fingers if you want to. You can always do a smaller shape with your round nose pliers if you want to. I'd like a nice big shape there. It's huge. And then the other one, I'm going to go a little bit longer. I'm going to grab that there. Let's just measure that. It's got to be 2 centimetres. Bend that wire over. Woo! and then pull that open, and whatever you used before, it's going to shape that around. So shape the one side around the pliers, and then I twist the pliers and bring the piece up to shape the underneath part. So looking at it like this, I've shaped this around a little bit more so that the wire at the back comes straight down here and the shape is like this. And I'm going to hold that there in the middle and bring this back wire over that front wire there quite tightly so it sits next to that wire, and it has twisted a little bit. I didn't want it to twist. I want it to stay quite straight. So we need to squeeze it around that wire there. Do you know what I mean? So the two wires now sit next to each other across the front there. Then I'm going to bring this weaving wire over to follow that wire, so that's where it is. I'm going to come over to follow the wire, turning it around so I can get in there. And I'm going to wrap around this wire a couple of times. And then around the two wires. This is just to hold them together. So I've gone around the two wires a couple of times, and then I shall wrap around the bottom wire. So now I think it's time to catch up with the other one. New tutorial now in my Etsy shop. A written tutorial is a file that you download, and it's loads of pages with loads of images and descriptions so you can follow along at your own pace. There's loads on there from beginner to advanced, but this is my latest one if you want to go and check it out, and I'll see you there. So we need to match this one up and do everything we've done to this one. So firstly, I'm going to cut that little end wire. Then I need to press that little cut end around, if I can grab it. Little monkey, gotcha. And then we start with this wire first. Luckily I measured these, so this one was 1.5, wasn't it? So we go 1.5 from there, and that's where I want to bend my wire over. So the top one went behind, so that needs to go behind the piece. So I think that dictates later the shape there. So I'll pinch that together, pull it apart. I've pulled it apart away from it anyway, so in a minute we must make sure it goes behind. And I'm going to use my bow pliers that I used before. Shape that around, bend that around, and then I think I pulled it a little bit tighter because the top one ended up smaller than the bottom one. So it's definitely gone behind, and I shall leave that for now. I'm just going to squeeze it together a little bit. So then this one was 2 centimetres. So from the weave, 2 centimetres, grab that. And this wire comes to the front. So I'm going to bend this one over. They both bend away from the centre. So you bend away from the centre and you come over everything. So you always bend out. But you don't bend them in, you bend them out. I have to sit and think, if I do that, is it going to go wrong? If I bend it that way, am I going to be able to match it up? So I've done all that working out so you don't have to. So what I've done is I've bent the wire around, and then I've tipped the pliers to the side to shape that one. So what we need to do now is match it up. So this wire is going to pull over to the front, isn't it? So both wires need to be going across the top there. And that's about the right shape. And that goes like that. So this one is at the back from the top, and the bottom one comes to the front. And then match up your shapes. My top shape is a little bit bigger. Make sure your wires are at the right angles. They're both in a line like that. And then holding it, the back wire has to come directly over that bottom wire there. Recently changed my profile picture, so I haven't been hacked. That is me. I'm just due an update. So just so you know, got somebody saying, "Oh, you've been hacked." No, that's me. So we need now to tie these two together. So we're going to bring the wire across to follow, and then bring it up between those two wires. I think it'll hide it nicely if we do it that way. We need to go, was it around this wire? Pull it back. I have to lift it up a little bit. That's it. Try's best to hold this. Just going the other way. I want to hold it that way. So we're wrapping around the top one. But I want it to sit sort of centrally, so the wraps need to go down to there. So then we go around the two wires twice. And then around the single wire, the top one, go around that wire twice. No, 3 times. So that holds them together. And we're caught up. So now holding the two wires at the same time, holding them together, we're going to bend them at the same time. I'm taking them down and around in a tight loop, letting them cross over a little bit. And then I'm taking one And I'm going to scoop that one around. And then I'll bring the other one around and scoop that one too. So I'm just making some swirly sort of. So initially a mermaid tail. I'm just making some like swirly additions, like watery kind of feel. To make the earring a little bit more interesting as well. So we need to copy that with the other one. So with this one, we need to go the other way. So with that one, we went that way. So with this one, we need to go this way. So hold that point at the top there. We'll bring them both around together. Let them cross over each other if you want to. Don't think my curly's as tight, maybe. And then this wire comes down. And this one comes around. And down. This will all make sense in a moment. And we need to match them up. I've got quite a big space here, so I'm going to make a bigger space. So I'm going to tie the wires together here so we can strap all three together. I'm going to take this piece of wire that's still attached, cut that, and we'll use that. It. So working across all the three, I'm just tying them together. I'm going to go a couple of times around the bottom wire. Bring it up to that spot where they all touch. And then I'll go once around the two. And I'll go twice around all three so it holds it nice. Once around the two, and then around bottom wire a couple of times, and then we can curl those wires to finish them, and we can add our beads. So then do the same for this one, join them there across that three using that bit of wire. So that's what we have so far. I'm just going to cut and curl these two wires. And if we try and match up the length of the cuts, then the curls will be the same length, hopefully the same kind of size. So I've just turned it around, positioned it on top of that one. So they're the same size. I'm just going to curl these two. With earrings, we don't want any open curls because we don't want it catching on hair. Oh, I'm never happy. I'm never pleased with it. So I've curled the other one too. And now we just need to add those beads. So I'm going to add little 5mm beads in those gaps there of the shapes that we made. So I'm going to be using some half round wire. I don't know which is the best way to do it. So I'll put the bead on the wire centrally. I want my bead to sit there. And then I'll take the wire around the shape a few times, and that will hold it nicely because the wire is nice and thick. If you don't have any half round to hand, you can use a bit of weaving wire. I just thought I'd go with the half round because it's a little bit tougher. I managed to break a bit of the weaving wire in one I made earlier when I was oxidising it, so I thought I'd use a bit of half round for this. I think I'm going to pull it forward a little bit just so it sits a bit better. And then go around again. So please mention me, Kelly Jones Design, when you're sharing your work made from my tutorials, and please don't share images of the back. Generally because it gives the design away. I mean, this, you can see it anyway. Like when we're using stones on that, normally if you show someone the back, then they can see how it's made, and then they don't come and watch the video. And I really appreciate everybody who does mention me. You guys are awesome. So that's one added. I've misshaped my wire a little bit there. So then we need to add beads to the other one there. So I've done mine. They look a little bit more like a phoenix than a mermaid. So they originally were tails. You can call them whatever you like. I think they've ended up quite pretty. I didn't plan all the curls, so that just happened. I think that's quite nice. So all you need to do now is add the ear wires. I'm going to pull that closed so it's nice and tight. So I'm just going to pop and oxidise these. So I made a pendant to match, and I did it quite differently. This was when I was coming up with the design, and I thought I'd finish off the bottom a little differently. So the earrings have come out. I do like the bigger shapes on the tail fins. That I've got a little pendant to match. So I'll put 2 jump rings around that top loop. So I've oxidised mine. I'm just popping the ear wires on. So I found it's easier to open the top here and put it on rather than if I open that ear wire, I tend to mark it, and if you open this out, it tends to misshape it. So that works. So there we have it, finished. I've oxidised mine. If you'd like to oxidise yours, I did a video on oxidising and aftercare. I'll put a link in the description below. And I did the pendant to match. I think it came out really nice. So thanks for watching another one of my videos. Please subscribe and hit the notification icon if you want to be notified of new videos that I do. Please like and comment on this video and let me know what you thought. If you want to see my written tutorials, they're over on Etsy. You'll find the link below. There might even be a link on the screen. And I will see you all in the next video. This is Gracie, if you didn't know. See you in the next one. Bye.